What if every email subject line formula you've been copying from Guru Threads is the exact reason your open rates are tanking in 2026? Stay with me, because the 8 subject line formulas I'm about to break down were tested across billions of sends, validated by ESPs, and proven against A/B test data in every major industry. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why most subject lines get skipped and the precise structural patterns that force an inbox open. Let's get into it. Here's the reality check. The average person now sees 121 emails every single day, 121. And your email is fighting for attention against promotional blasts, internal Slack pings, receipts, newsletters, and at least 3 other marketers selling the exact same thing you are. The subject line is the only thing standing between your message and the trash folder. Get it wrong, and your entire campaign dies before a single word of body copy is read. Get it right, and everything downstream, clicks, conversions, revenue, multiplies. So why do most subject lines fail? It's not because the writer is lazy. It's because they start with the product instead of the reader. They'll write new software update available or 50% off this week only and assume that alone will compel someone to open. But here's the thing, your subscriber doesn't wake up thinking about your product. They wake up thinking about their problem, their deadline, their frustration, their inbox overload. If your subject line doesn't speak to that internal conversation, it gets ignored. The framework behind these 8 formulas wasn't born in an email marketing conference. It was forged in the brutal print advertising era, when a single headline and 1 illustration had to stop a reader mid-flip, drag them through 3 paragraphs of body copy, and drive them to mail a check or visit a brick-and-mortar shop. The constraints were vicious. The competition for attention was zero-sum. If your ad didn't pull, your client went bankrupt. That pressure tested these formulas into tools of extraordinary precision. They survived because they worked at scale across thousands of campaigns in dozens of industries for decades. At the heart of this framework is one principle most marketers completely miss. It starts with the reader's reality, not the product's features. Every single sentence either serves the reader's journey from problem to solution or it gets cut. The psychological mechanism is straightforward. People don't make decisions based on logic alone. They make them based on emotion and then justify the decision with logic afterward. This framework works with that reality rather than against it. It creates an emotional shift first, then gives the reader the rational evidence they need to feel confident about the choice they already want to make. The framework has 5 sequential steps, and skipping any one of them collapses the entire sequence. Step 1. Identify exactly where your reader sits on the awareness spectrum. Step 2. Craft an entry point that makes them feel understood, not impressed. Step 3. Build tension by showing the concrete cost of their current situation. Step 4. Present your offer as the bridge between their pain and their desired afterstate. Step 5. Remove every possible friction point before the call to action. Miss step 1, and the rest reads like shouting into a void. Let's walk through each one. Step 1 is the step most marketers skip because they assume the reader already wants what they're selling. The framework forces you to start earlier. You have to honestly assess, is your reader completely unaware of their problem? Aware of the problem but not the solution? Aware of solutions but unsure which one to choose? Each stage demands a completely different subject line. An unaware reader needs curiosity and pattern interruption. A solution-aware reader needs differentiation and proof. If you write for the wrong stage, you might as well be sending the email to nobody at all. Step 2 is about crafting an entry point that makes the reader feel understood, not entertained, not impressed, understood. When a reader feels you accurately see their situation, they lower their resistance and their internal filter disengages. The most common mistake here is being too clever. Clever copy impresses the writer. Specific copy impresses the reader. Aim for specificity every single time. Instead of boost your productivity, write the 45-minute meeting that destroyed your Tuesday. One is generic, the other is a mirror. Mirrors always get opened. Step 3 is where most copywriters pull back too soon because they're afraid of alarming the reader. But here's the truth. A reader who doesn't feel the urgency of their problem won't feel the urgency of your solution. You have to show them the cost of their current situation in concrete, personal terms, not abstract terms, not you might be losing money. Specific terms. How much are they losing every single day? What will it cost them in a year, in 5 years, in 10? The cost has to be visceral, immediate, and undeniable. That's what builds the tension that makes the open feel necessary rather than optional. Step 4 is where you finally introduce what you're selling, but only after the previous 3 steps have earned you the right. The key is to position your offer as the bridge between where the reader is right now and where they desperately want to be. Don't sell features. Sell the afterstate. Don't say our software has automated workflows. Say, imagine closing your laptop at 4 p.m., knowing every task is already handled. The more vividly you can paint the afterstate, the more powerful this step becomes. You're not pitching a product. You're handing them a vision of their better self. Step 5 is the step that gets treated as an afterthought, and it's the step where otherwise brilliant campaigns still fail. Removing friction means anticipating every objection, every hesitation, every reason someone might close the tab instead of clicking. Common friction points include price, which you address with value framing, not discounts. Time commitment, address it with takes less than 10 minutes. Trust, address it with specific testimonials, real names, real numbers, real dates. If you leave a single objection unhandled, that objection becomes the reason your conversion rate stays flat. Handle them all. Now let's get into the 8 subject line formulas themselves, starting with the curiosity gap. This is the structural pattern where you open a loop in the reader's mind and refuse to close it. Examples include the one word that changed how I write emails, or I was wrong about subject lines for 10 years. The trick is to withhold the payoff so completely that the reader feels physical discomfort leaving the email unopened. The curiosity gap outperforms generic subject lines by an average of 47% in A/B tests across major ESPs. It works because the human brain cannot tolerate an unresolved open loop. Formula 2 is the specific number pattern. This one is brutally simple and brutally effective. Examples include 3 subject lines that doubled my open rate, or 7 words that tripled my clicks. The reason it works is twofold. First, odd numbers outperform even numbers because they feel more authentic and less manufactured. Second, specific numbers imply a tested, distilled truth. The writer didn't just brainstorm, they refined. Specificity also short-circuits the brain's pattern recognition, which makes the subject line feel like content rather than promotion. Tested subject lines with specific numbers outperform round numbers by an average of 36%. Formula 3 is the deadline or urgency pattern, and it has to be used surgically or it backfires. Examples include closes at midnight tonight or last chance before the price doubles. The reason it works is that it triggers loss aversion, the documented psychological phenomenon where the pain of losing something is roughly twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining it. But here's the critical nuance. Fake urgency destroys trust permanently. Real urgency, an actual deadline, a real inventory limit, a genuine policy change, converts at 2 to 3 times the baseline. The subject line must be factually true or the long-term cost of the lie is catastrophic. Formula 4 is the personalization pattern, and it's been weaponized by the best email marketers in the world. Examples include first name, this changes your Tuesday, or quick question for company name. But here's where most practitioners go wrong. They treat personalization as inserting a first name and call it done. The framework demands a deeper personalization. Reference a behavior, a previous purchase, a location, an industry, a milestone. The more specific and behaviorally relevant the personalization, the higher the open rate. Generic name merge tags lift opens by about 5%. Behaviorally relevant personalization lifts opens by 20 to 40%. Formula 5 is the story tease pattern, and it's the one that performs best on cold lists. Examples include the email that accidentally made me 6 figures, or she opened this on a Tuesday and quit her job by Friday. Story-driven subject lines work because humans are narrative processors. We can't help but try to complete a story in our heads. The minute you hint at a sequence of events, the reader's brain starts predicting the outcome. And prediction without resolution is the exact same psychological mechanism that powers the curiosity gap, just wrapped in narrative skin. Open rates on story tease subject lines regularly exceed 40% on cold traffic. Formula 6 is the direct objection pattern, and this one is criminally underused. Examples include, no, you don't need another funnel, or skip this if you already love your open rates. This formula works because it inverts the reader's expectation. Every other email in their inbox is begging for attention. Yours is actively pushing them away. That paradox creates a curiosity loop that almost forces the open. It's also a brutal qualifying mechanism. The people who open are pre-sold, pre-curious, and dramatically more likely to convert. Open rates on objection-based subject lines average 28% higher than the standard promotional baseline. Formula 7 is the how-to pattern, which sounds basic but has a secret weapon most marketers ignore. Examples include how to write subject lines that actually get opened, or how I doubled my email revenue in 30 days. The hidden lever is the word actually, or any equivalent specificity marker. How to alone performs modestly. How to actually performs dramatically better because it implies the reader has been doing it wrong and the writer has the corrected version. It taps directly into step 1 of the framework, meeting the reader exactly where they are, in their current state of mild frustration with their existing results.